what is happening in the market. While the index may not be the best reflection of what really are the internals like, but look at what's happening in select metal names. They continue their uptick. Autos, of course, are really charging ahead. Look at a Hero MotoCorp or TVS Motors, M&M as well as Maruti. Autos is one of the strongest pack today. And then, of course, the weakness which is consistent and persistent after yesterday's sell-off in NITC, which is sharply lower by another 4% as we speak right now. Or for that matter, Policy Bazaar, Titan, Godrej Consumer. These are some of the stocks which are seeing some follow-through selling or profit-taking. But let's address what's happening within the entire sugar pack. And we've got with us Mr. Atul Chaturvedi, the Executive Chairman at Sri Renuka Sugars, and Deepak Balani, Director General at ISMA, to talk about the sugar industry right now. Gentlemen, both of you, a very good morning, and thank you so much for speaking with us today on ET Now. Mr. Balani, if I could just start off the discussion with you first. Sugar production in this sugar season has been very solid. I mean, 25% higher than last year. What is leading to this, and do you sense if this kind of momentum will continue into the next year as well?
Good morning, and thank you for having me in your show. Very rightly mentioned, the season is progressing very well. Until 31st of December, almost 119 lakh tons, which is almost 25% over the last year. And this is, in fact, at the backdrop of higher crush rate. We are getting better yield and also better recovery, which we had anticipated before the season started. And as per the ISMA's estimate, we are expecting that we will produce almost 343 lakh tons. And I believe we are on the right track. And in all the states, Karnataka, Maharashtra are exceptional. In fact, UP is also doing slightly better. So overall, a positive trend for the sugar production in the country.
And Mr. Balani, talk to us about momentum of higher sugar production. Can it sustain for the rest of the sugar season, especially basis the actual production till December? What will your revised sugar production estimates be for the season?
No, I think, as I just mentioned, till date, the production seems to be in line with what we had anticipated. And as per the information from the ground, the trend is going to continue. We perhaps will, the ratoon harvesting will get over very soon. We will get into the plant. And perhaps we are expecting that the season will progress well. And we will reach around 34 million tons as we had anticipated, which is a gross sugar production. If we take out around 34 lakh tons for the ethanol diversion, we still will have a much better sugar production in the country.
Okay, that's good to hear that. That, of course, is what, the year ahead is going to actually bring up like. But Mr. Chaturvedi, hi, morning. Let me get you into the discussion as well. The big question on whether or not this kind of momentum is going to stay put, because sugar production is expected to be higher than last year. But what about consumption? Will we be left with a sugar surplus, you think?
A very good morning to you and to your viewers. A very good 2026. Hopefully, it is going to be much better than 2025, which wasn't all that great. Coming to the production, I would probably err on the side of excess production compared to what ISMA's estimate says. Our take is that the overall sugar production this year could be anywhere between 35 and 36 million tons on gross basis or sucrose basis. So to be on the safer side, we would probably pencil in a number of about 35.5 million tons. And the current surge in production as well as better recoveries indicates that overall, compared to last year, our production might actually be higher by anywhere between 16 to 18% compared to what it was last year. So having said that, your question on what would be the end stock? Our take is that if the exports pick up, which they haven't till December till our back of the envelope calculation says it's only about anywhere between 2 to 2.25 lakh tons or thereabouts. But exports are expected to pick up in the January-March quarter. because the rupee is also a little wobbly compared to the dollar, and that should help exports pick up. But whether we'll be able to export at the end of the year 1.5 million tons or additional if the government allows another 500,000 tons is a question mark, and a lot will depend on this. What will be the closing stock numbers? Our opening number this year was about 5 million tons, and with a production of about 35.5 million tons and exports at around, on the max side, about 1.5, and sugar diversion towards ethanol, assuming there is no fresh allocation, which we hope is around the corner, then you would probably end up with a million ton plus of closing stock. But all depends on whether additional sugar is diverted towards ethanol and our exports reach anywhere between 1.5 to 2 million tons. So in any case, India is going to be struggling with higher sugar levels, and it's in the sugar sector it faces the classic dilemma. You want very high prices for the farmers, and you want very low prices for the consumers. And the East and West, the twain, it's very, very difficult to meet. And this is where the sugar industry continues to be in kind of an ICU as of today. Yep, back to you.
Right. Mr. Chaturvedi, therefore, where do retail prices go?
Retail prices do not have too much of a potential to move northwards.
Right.
The sugar demand is also relatively tepid. And my take is that sugar prices, if all these things don't happen, if the export allocation additional doesn't come, or if additional diversion doesn't take place, then sugar could actually be selling closer to about anywhere between 35 and 36 rupees or thereabouts, as far as Maharashtra and Karnataka is concerned, and maybe a rupee or rupee and a half higher than UP. So that is not going to be healthy with FRP of sugar going up and the current cost of production anywhere between 41 and 42 rupees a kilo. The sugar sector is likely to bleed if the government does not take notice of the plight affecting the sugar sector. And sooner or later, that this plight will get transferred to the farmers whom the government wants to protect. Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Balani, where do you stand with regard to exports? Could the government allow sugar exports beyond the 1.5 million ton mark?
See, as of now, as Mr. Chaturvedi just mentioned, the international sugar prices are, subdued. What we are seeing is much lesser than last time when government had allowed almost 1 million tons. So I believe let us try and see that the chunk of already allocated export quota get exported. Maybe in next 3 months, we are expecting almost 1.3 to 1.4 million to go out. Perhaps if we are able to meet our quota, then we can go to the government and request for the additional quota. There is absolutely no point government giving additional quota because it is unnecessarily going to depress the international market further. So I believe let the parity be there, and we are hoping that until March starting January until March, we might see some parity coming, and chunk of our export quota could be met. So I believe the industry should perhaps export this allocation first and then perhaps look for additional if required and if the parity is there.
Okay. And just talk to us, therefore, what happens, Mr. Balani, with regard to retail sugar prices? Do you expect a decline with regard to retail sugar prices? You have a more holistic view in terms of the industry as a whole?
See, as Mr. Chaturvedi just mentioned, one is that the cost of production is much higher. Today, the XML prices are much below the cost of production. Sugar also has a relatively very low weight in the CPI basket. And for last 10 years, if you see, the retail prices of sugar has seen an increase of just about 2% CAGR, while in other commodities it is much higher. 65% of the sugar is consumed by the institutional buyers. Only 35% goes to the domestic households. So I don't see perhaps any possibility of further increase in the retail prices. The consumption is slowing down. In fact, last year in 24-25, we saw the consumption coming below 281 lakh tons from 290 in the previous year. This year we are expecting the consumption to marginally go up, maybe till 285. So I don't really see that this will have any effect on the retail prices. I think what Atulji just mentioned, I think the policy at this moment is very, very important. And that comes in the form of revision of MSP of sugar, which has not been revised for almost 6 years. Effectively, if you see the SAP states and FRP, it is almost 391 rupees per quintal for the sugar cane, which is much, much higher than what it was when the last time MSP was revised. So I believe with the ex-mill prices going down in Maharashtra and Karnataka and even UP, it becomes extremely important for the government to now revise the MSP, because we are already seeing that the cane areas have already started inching up. I just had the data of Maharashtra. On 15th of December last year, the area were somewhere around 1,500 crore. And this year for the same period, the areas have gone up to almost 3,000 crores. So because of this gap in the cost of production and the ex-mill prices, I think this perhaps if the MSP is not revised, we are getting into a very danger zone where the areas could increase. So this is something which the industry doesn't want and have been requesting the government, and I'm sure government is also looking and evaluating and monitoring the situation. I believe this is the right time to revise the MSP.
Mr. Balani, I also want to talk about ethanol prices because we must. What is the probability you think of ethanol prices being hiked in, say, the next 1 to 2 months? And if and when a price hike is announced, how much will it be realistically? What's your expectation?
See, we have been asking the government to revise the prices of ethanol. Very, very important, because almost 17% increase in the FRP since last 3 years. And please understand that the current raw material cost for producing ethanol accounts for almost 79% of the juice-based procurement price of ethanol, which is not sustainable. So we are at least looking at a 10% upward revision in the prices of ethanol, specifically from the juice and B-heavy. And if we are giving maize almost 72 rupees liter, where the entire 100% crop is sacrificed for ethanol, similar to juice, there is absolutely no point that you need to keep the sugarcane juice price to 65.67. So we are actually hoping that government will at least have a bare minimum revision of almost 4.5 or 5 rupees per liter for the juice, B-heavy, and also the juice and B-heavy. Because if this is not done, the entire ethanol economy, specifically from the sugarcane, will go for a toss. When Niti Aayog came with a report in 2018-19, it said when India will achieve E20, we will have at least 55% of allocation. Unfortunately, the allocation has also come down to 28%. So both in terms of allocation, the price, I think the biggest hit we are taking in terms of our viability. I believe it is very, very important. We have been talking to the government, because this cannot sustain this way. We have to make sure if the raw material prices are decided by the government, the end product is also decided by the government. I believe there has to be a corresponding increase if we need to have a proper economy working, and we need to have the proper payment to the farmer. I think this is what we feel. And as I said, that the government is completely aware of the situation, and we are hoping that they will now also see that there has to be an increase in the ethanol prices.
Okay, Mr. Chaturvedi, last quick question. Where do retail sugar prices currently stand versus minimum support price, especially in key states, Maharashtra and UP? Give us some color on that.
Retail prices, we do not track that closely.
Sure.
The ex-mill prices would be in the region of about anywhere between 35.50 to 36 as far as Maharashtra and Karnataka is concerned. And UP could be closer to about 37 and 38 levels. And these numbers used to be closer to about 40, 41 in UP and about 38, 39 as far as Maharashtra is concerned. So MSP revision is something which is absolutely essential. And to me, what irks is that our food inflation is currently practically in negative territory. And as it is, our Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister says that the sugar consumption should actually be curtailed. But if that be the policy, then why the hell are we keeping the sugar prices so low? Higher prices would probably help in curbing the consumption as well. And as Mr. Balani rightly said, about 65% of the sugar actually goes for institutional. Why do we have to protect the institutional consumer to the extent? And that is the reason why the sugar could be in, this could be actually be an existential crisis if for the sugar industry, if adequate actions or policy measures are not taken. And we must remember that sugar is a highly regulated sector.
Oh, yeah, it sure is and has been for many, many years, hasn't it? But Mr. Balani and Chaturvedi, thank you so much for taking the time and speaking with us today. Good to get in all that insight and perspective on the sugar industry.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, on that note, let's